And let's go ahead and get started. And yes, if anyone's wondering why my voice sounds like this, it's because we all got extremely sick. So still getting over that cold. Okay, great. So agenda overview. So privacy is on top of mind for crypto, and we'll talk more about this, but I think it's extremely fascinating, very positive for crypto and privacy overall. And I do want to discuss more of what this means in terms of our strategy and direction moving forward, because I think now that privacy is actually gaining a lot more traction in the kind of the crypto Twitter sphere, we're learning a lot more about how privacy is needed for crypto and what we can build to support that need. We actually did onboard a new person last week, and I want to talk about some of his projects that he'll be starting early on, and kind of how we're thinking about Ironfish strategy moving forward. And then the last bit is going to be more about questions and updates on miscellaneous things around Ironfish or miscellaneous questions that I've heard people ask repeatedly on Discord. Okay, so the privacy, privacy being a top mind for crypto. So a couple things happened in terms of the privacy sphere that I think I really want to talk about. So the first thing is that Solana actually launched confidential payments, if you haven't seen that. So I want to double click on what this means. Confidential payments means that you can hide the amounts of the transaction, but the sender and the recipient are still public information, which is a lot easier to build. That type of privacy is very trivial to build. And unfortunately, I don't think it gives you that much more protection for the user. So the extreme example of this is, if we're going to be using crypto to buy coffee, but just because you're hiding the amounts doesn't help you as an individual, because you're still revealing your physical location. Confidential transactions are not enough to actually protect the end user. The other piece of news is Vitalik actually wrote several pieces on privacy. So there was he wrote a blog post about, or two blog posts, I should say. One of them was a more long form forum post about what he wants to see in terms of privacy in wallets, which was extremely interesting and definitely things that we can take away from and improve Ironfish. But he also wrote, as of yesterday, actually a fairly long piece about the importance of privacy and importance of privacy for crypto payments in particular. And it resonated so much. This is exactly why we were building the Ironfish. This is exactly why we spent so long working on private payments. And I highly encourage people to read that blog post. I thought it was extremely insightful and just very, very clear in terms of why this is so important. So in terms of the big takeaways, so the fact that Solana is now doing private payments for Solana, and for Base, we're much more closer to Base now. The only real private pool for Base is Veilcash. What we found out is that these chains, they want privacy solutions to be way more integrated within that chain than having their users bridge things to Ironfish. And so one of the things that we're brainstorming currently is, how do we bring the innovation of privacy that Ironfish has built much closer to those chains? So what that means is we're right now brainstorming of, do we launch a private smart contract, privacy-based pool with the Ironfish core as a privacy protocol on all the EVM chains? And we're seriously thinking about it, because with the next upgrade, so I don't know if you are familiar with EVM upgrades, but the next EVM upgrade is going to be called Pectra, and it's going to include the BLS 12381 precompiles. BLS 12381 is the curve, the elliptic curve that Ironfish uses for all of its privacy mechanism techniques. And so what's really exciting about that is that it actually opens us up to a possibility of launching Ironfish, the privacy pool, on Base, on Arbitrum, on Optimism, etc., to bring that privacy a lot closer to those protocols. So right now, internally, we're brainstorming, what is the tokenomic strategy for that? How do we make sure that if we do launch a privacy pool on Base, that the Iron token kind of benefits from that? So right now we're kind of going through those brainstorms. And I know that some people on Discord mentioned, oh, I don't see any activity on GitHub. like, yes, even though you are not seeing activity on GitHub, that doesn't mean that we're not working in terms of strategy and figuring out the next step for how do we bring privacy closer to those chains, especially now that privacy is becoming a much more focus topic for all these chains. So that's kind of our probably one of our biggest takeaways. Oh, hi, Jason. And yeah, so if you have ideas in terms of how people think about bringing privacy to those chains, Solana is a little bit kind of scary for me because they are not an EVM chain. I'm not entirely sure how to think about Solana, but yeah, if people have ideas, please let me know. So onboarding, we do actually have one person who's kind of a hybrid engineer product person who joined last week. He wishes to remain anonymous for now, but very excited to have him. And I want to talk about some of his first onboarding projects, because his first onboarding projects are going to be related to privacy and crypto, but they're not going to touch Ironfish Core just yet. And there's a plethora of projects that we're actually thinking about, and I can share some of them, but I just want to make sure that people understand that I'm not sharing a roadmap right now. I'm not trying to promise that we're going to ship these things. We're simply exploring these avenues, and seeing what he wants to build first in order for us to learn from the market, learn how users are using privacy, learn what works, what doesn't, and just really iterate quickly in terms of understanding more about how privacy and crypto work together. So one of the first projects that he might be working on is actually a KYC product. So KYC is extremely important for crypto in general, especially when you're dealing with a privacy protocol. And it's not that we want to KYC people. We actively do not want to KYC people. But if you look at Veilcash, for instance, or even ZeroXpo, they just launched mainnet on Ethereum called Privacy Pools. The big importance for both of those privacy protocols is how do we make sure that only good actors enter the privacy pool and use that privacy pool. And so we're looking into ways of how to do privacy preserving KYC so people can have some sort of a guardrail for entering that privacy pool. So that's one project. The other project we're thinking of is obviously the one that I mentioned of how do we ship privacy pools on EVM chains. This is something that we talked about for a long time, of how do we bring the Ironfish Core privacy mechanism within a smart contract? What does that look like? So we're actually thinking about that. The other core piece of that is how do we bring in more user engagement to that? So should we build games that have private state transfer that leverage those privacy pools that we would launch on EVM chains to get people to engage with privacy in a way that doesn't have any friction and doesn't have any regulatory concern. So that's another area of projects that we're exploring with this person. But yeah, again, there's just so much that we're talking about in terms of how to build privacy closer to the major L2 such that it still benefits Ironfish, it still benefits crypto, and gets us more user engagement. Cool. So some of the questions updates, and I know I'm running through this really fast, but if you want to interrupt me at any point, just let me know. So KuCoin updates. I've had a number of people message me on Telegram, on Discord, even on Twitter of, hey, back in the day, I had Ironfish tokens on KuCoin. I didn't realize that KuCoin delisted Ironfish. I didn't have time to withdraw my tokens. And now I don't have my tokens, and the KuCoin support is not replying to me. So we're in touch with KuCoin customer support as well about this, and and we stressed with them that look, this is unacceptable. You can't just take people's coins and not even reply to their messages. So we are working with them to refund those people with our Iron tokens. The last message that we got from them was a few days ago, and they said that they are working on withdrawing Iron tokens to those users. We're going to be following up with them pretty much every day and being extremely annoying to make sure that they follow up. And we even told them, we want to do right by our users. We are committed to distributing those iron tokens. Like, we're willing to donate iron tokens to those users because we think it's so unfair. But obviously they have a ton of iron tokens that don't belong to them, and we're actively working with them to make sure that those are distributed. So yeah, there are a few people that have messaged me already. If you are in this camp, or you know someone who is in the same situation of their tokens being stuck in KuCoin, let me know so we can ping KuCoin directly, make sure that they actually do the deposit. The other is the grants update. I've had a number of people reach out to me for grants for mining operations. We have always actually had this program, and we'll continue to have this program. Is if you are mining Ironfish and you are actively contributing to the decentralization of Ironfish, meaning that you're not mining on the most popular mining pool, or you're solo mining, or you're doing anything to kind of increase the decentralization of our mining activity, we do have a special grants program just for that. There is one exception though. If you can't like badmouth Ironfish on Twitter and also apply for this grants program. That's like the one thing, because we did have someone who did both and got really upset when he got rejected. And I just want to be really transparent about that, of like, basically if you show that you have, that if you're doing kind of any effort to decentralize Ironfish, we will literally give you money to do that, but you just can't also badmouth it, but like talk badly about the project in public. And then I had a number of people reach out to me about swag. And my resounding message is, if you want swag, just message us. We just did a pretty massive, or I shouldn't say massive, it just felt pretty laborious. Like, we shipped ledgers, t-shirts, stickers, like all kinds of Ironfish swag to 25 people spanning like 20 countries. Like, we are so super excited to spread the swag, because when we've gotten so much positive sentiment on Twitter when they receive their care packages and they're getting their amazing t-shirts and amazing swag, and we want to continue doing that. So if you want swag, just message us and we're more than happy to send you some amazing Ironfish swag. There is some caveat. There are some countries that are just like way too expensive for us to ship. So not all countries, but most countries, if you want swag, just let us know. All right, I'm seeing a question. Help us with pool integration so we can assist with the decentralization of Ironfish. We would love to help. That's amazing. So yeah, reach out to me, whenever you can. I have had another mining pool reach out to me for technical assistance on integration. And my answer to that is, if you find someone like a mining pool developer who will help you with the integration, we can sponsor that or give you an additional grant. But currently we're not at the capacity of helping you with your pool integration. However, our documentation is really great. We even have a mining pool reference implementation for you to look at as well. We have Stratum implemented. We have like a lot of examples for you to work from. But additionally, yeah, if you want to apply for an additional grant for the integration itself, we are very open to that as well. Just message me afterwards. Cool. And I think that's it. Yeah. I mean, I'm talking to a number of people who, there's this one person who single-handedly is doing their own mining pool for Ironfish, like as a side hobby, I think. And he just made his own Ironfish wallet, which was amazing. He just applied for a grant, and we're gonna go ahead and process that. So very excited to see all this activity happening on Ironfish and people developing on it. So yeah, if you need assistance with anything mining related, just message me afterwards. And if I don't reply because I missed your message, please ping Mabel, who's MaybeZ on here, MaybeZ_Ironfish, and she's gonna make sure that that's prioritized. Cool. Okay, and I think that should be it. That should be a wrap. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to message with them on the general channel or the questions channel. And yeah. And then hopefully this was recorded. I forgot to ask Mabel to record this, but hopefully she did. So for those people who missed it, we'll make sure to post this on YouTube as well. Cool. And with that, happy Tuesday, everyone. And yeah, I hope you have a great end of the day. Yeah, the hoarse voice is because I got sick, and very appreciative of this meeting being moved from Friday to Tuesday, because I would have just been like a corpse on Discord on Friday. Cool. All right. Bye, everyone.